What's up, y'all? It's Southern Curl Tara here with a little therapy for your hair. This video is at the request of one of our viewers, and she was asking about how to take care of damaged hair while you're trying to grow it out and get it healthy. So I thought this was video worthy because there's not just a simple answer, and there are lots of things that you can do to try to, as I call it, nurse your hair along to better health. And I just want to take a few minutes to talk about some of the things that I did when I was making the transition from heat styling and some of the abuse into going natural with my curly/wavy hair. So one of the first things that I would mention is that it's a process. So your hair only grows as fast as it grows, right? And so you just really do have to be patient in letting your new growth come in. But there are some things that you can do to maintain the length while you are growing it out and getting it healthy, as well as things that you can do to help that process along, especially if you have hair that maybe is a little more brittle or that you find is a little more subject to breakage and damage. So the first thing that I would suggest, if you have hair that has been over processed or has been damaged, is to just stop the abuse. So stop with the temptation to use heat to straighten it or to chemically process it, and just give it a break. And so if you need to use color, try to use colors that aren't as harsh, even though that may mean a little more maintenance in the short term. In the long term, it's going to serve you better and help your transition time move along a little more quickly. The other thing that's a real game changer right away is using Olaplex 3. Now, there are some misconceptions about Olaplex 3 in that it is a deep conditioner or that it's a protein treatment, and it's actually neither of those. Olaplex 3 is a bond builder, so it really fills in any of the gaps or damage that might be in your hair and helps give it a smoother appearance. It also, for me at least, brings back a lot of spring into my hair. So now my hair almost has all of the damaged parts grown out, but I still do have a bit of a rough and tumble at the bottom. And I really notice when I use Olaplex 3 that I have an improvement in my wash day and in the way that my hair wears for the week. So if you're just starting to make the transition, I would recommend using the Olaplex 3 at least weekly. You might actually want to use it twice a week, and do that for as long as you feel like you need to do it in order to accomplish a good wash day. You'll know when your hair is starting to recover and get back to its roots, so to speak. And after that, you should be able to do it about once a month for maintenance. So keep that in mind, and that is a pricey product. It's about $28 a bottle retail, but one bottle, even for hair like mine, which is long and thick, lasts me at least 4 treatments, and that's being very generous with application. So you can definitely get several treatments out of that, so it's not quite as expensive of an investment as it appears from the price tag. One of the other things that you can do is to add some supplements to your diet. And I would really say the easiest, most effective thing, at least according to my hairdresser, who is my trusted source for all things like this, is to add some vitamins. And he recommends Flintstones chewables. So those are easy, they're pretty pleasant tasting, and it's not hard to pop a few in your mouth and make those part of your routine. So if you already eat a good diet, great, but you might give those a try and just see how it affects your hair and actually your nails for, a couple months, and see if that works out for you. You can also try other supplements like bone broth or collagen. I've heard people give great results for their skin, actually, as well as their hair and their nails, from things like bone broth, gelatin, and also just taking like a collagen supplement. Now, I'm a vegetarian, so I have not tried bone broth, and I haven't tried any of the collagen or protein supplements that are animal derived, as many of them are. And so I can't speak to that personally, but I do know from a couple of friends who I really trust with their evaluation of products and things of that nature that they have had good results. So it's, again, if you're looking for some options and some things you haven't tried, I think those are a couple that maybe don't get mentioned as frequently as others. The big key that's really hard to stick to when you are growing out your hair or when you are trying to get it back to healthy, especially if it doesn't look as nice as you would like for it to look, is to not abuse it with your styling. So I know for us ladies with longer hair and guys with longer hair, it can be really tempting to pull it up in a knot and just wrap a band around it, or to, I can't even think of all the things I've done in the past trying to keep my hair out of my face. But the big offender is to use a hair tie that is just really haphazardly placed and maybe is too tight, or you have pulled on your hair so that it has not only stretched out your curl pattern, but that it may lead to breakage. So try to use some of the softer tools that are available for hair ties, whether it's a satin scrunchie, whether it's just something that is cloth. A lot of girls use their buff that they protect their hair with at night as a hair tie if they're going hiking or if they're working out or something like that. Just think about putting something soft against your hair that isn't going to be abusing it further. And I think that has been one of the hardest adjustments for me to make, because I have to really be thoughtful about where I have some of those things placed, so that I have access to them when I need them. It was so easy just to have a really cheap hair tie around my wrist or, thrown in my bag. And so I've just tried to make convenient placements for things like that when I'm out and about in case I need it. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, where it is super hot and humid for most of the year. So I'm always looking for something to put my hair up with. The other thing that I have found to love, and it just takes a little practice using it, is to use chopsticks to put my hair up. So I put it up in somewhat of a French twist style, and then I secure the chopsticks. And so that usually holds it up pretty well, actually, for most of the activities throughout my day. Probably wouldn't hold up to working out, but definitely holds up to other, just daily activities. And I have found that that is a lot gentler on my hair and also on my curl pattern. So yes, so we talked a little bit about supplements, and we talked a little bit about maybe your diet's already pretty well rounded, but if it's not, I'm not saying go on a drastic, diet or something like that and eliminate all your favorite junk foods or fast foods. I'm just saying to add some other whole foods to your diet. So if you haven't had a fresh fruit or vegetable in a while, throw some of those on your plate, or try to have some of those things around, maybe even just for snacks. And I think that you will find that even in just a very short period of time, you'll notice some changes to your skin, probably to your fingernails before you notice it in your hair, but it will be taking the same effect with your hair as it does with those other organs of your body. The final thing that I want to offer up, which I think is just something that you have to just budget your time for, is a weekly deep condition. Now, to some people, they may think, I don't have time for that. But if you think about how much time you are saving with the Curly Girl method, and that you're not having to do a wash day, hopefully every day, I think it is really worth the investment. I tend to do these on a Friday night or a Saturday morning. That way it doesn't really interfere. I do it while I'm doing my housework around the house. And the thing that I like to do is just to get up and sometimes I wash it first and do the deep condition, but actually of late, I've actually been just wetting my hair and applying the deep conditioner while my hair is dirty. So it doesn't really matter do whatever works for you, but just make sure that you are devoting the time weekly to a deep condition while you are trying to get your hair healthy. It's really important to spend that time, give your hair the moisture and perhaps the protein that it needs, give it a little extra TLC on that day, and then make that a really good wash day for the week. So that's why I like to do it on a Friday and Saturday. Not that I'm like out living it up right now during the pandemic, but it always feels nice on the weekend for me to have nicer hair and then to go into my work week knowing that my hair is looking pretty good. And then sometimes I have to do a pretty hardcore refresh around Wednesday or Thursday. Today is Thursday and I'm doing a refresh, which is why my hair is still drying and in clips. But just wanted to share these few tips with you. I hope they've been helpful. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments section below. I love getting comments from you guys and would love to talk with you more about the things that have worked for me. And so I would also love to hear your feedback. So if you try some of these things and they work out, then I would love to hear about it. Or if you have other tips to share, would love to hear those too. Like I said in the beginning, be patient. This is a process and it takes a little while for your hair to grow back in and for you to have kind of a fresh head of hair. Just remember that even though you may be tempted not to get a haircut because you're trying to let it grow in and you're not wanting to lose the length, it really is is important for you and for your like mental health or your well-being. And is to know that you're cutting off some of those parts that really are just not ever going to make a comeback. So if you get a nice healthy trim every couple of months, you're going to see better results and you're going to have more predictability in your hair care routine. So just keep that in mind. Once you've got your hair back in a really good healthy position, you may find that you only need a haircut a couple times a year, depending on your style. So just keep that in mind, but don't hesitate to go ahead and get some of those dead ends cut off, especially if they are giving you grief when you style your hair. I've seen some photos and videos of folks saying, oh my gosh, the rest of my hair looks good and the last 4 or 5 inches are just stick straight, or they just are going in every which direction and I can't seem to get them to cooperate. If that is happening with your hair, it's time to just go ahead and let go. Let go of those parts and embrace what you have there that is cooperating, and I think you'll be so much happier about it. I did a pretty significant cut less than a year ago. I took off probably 5 inches of my hair, and now I can say that is not only back, but plus some, and I'm due another really healthy cut again. And I think that after I get this next healthy trim, I will be back to virgin hair. So hair that has not been touched by the hot iron, hair that has not been abused through, hot rollers and other processes, pulling and tugging on it with the round brushes and things like that. So just keep these tips in mind as you are kind of nursing your hair back to health. And again, I would love to hear what your experience has been and any other struggles you might be having. It's really great to be able to use the knowledge that I've built over the last few years and share it with others who are having trouble problem solving. So I hope you have an amazing day. It was great to be back with you again, and this video has been overdue, so I hope it is still useful for the person who asked the question, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.